Good day, everyone. My name is Mr. Desmond, and today we are going to be dealing with mathematics. Okay, and the topic we're going to be dealing with today is the area and perimeter of plane shapes. Okay, aside from this, we are also going to look at the volume of solid shapes, and we are also going to look at how to calculate the angles of a polygon and how to also solve uh, some inverse cases where the areas are given to you and you are asked to find maybe one of the unknown in the value. So, without wasting our time, let's begin. So, what are plane shapes? We'll just do a quick. Plane shapes are what we call two-dimensional shapes. These are flat shapes. Okay, just like the way the board is very flat. It looks flat. So that is what we mean by a plane shape. It has length and it has breadth. It has what we call vertex. It has edge. So these are properties of plane shapes. Some do have diagonal lines if you have to draw them in symmetry representation. So let's talk about the areas of plane shapes. So what is area? Area simply means Okay, area simply means if I draw a shape, for instance, area means all this place. That's what area means. All the space that that shape encloses is called the area. And what is the perimeter of a shape? The perimeter is simply the distance from here to here to here to here. Just like you take a ruler, you measure here, you measure here, you measure here, you measure here. You add those values together. That is the perimeter. So that's the difference between the area and perimeter of plane shapes. So for circle, for instance, circle doesn't have a perimeter. What we calculate for circle is referred to as the circumference. Okay, so let's take some questions quickly. So our first illustration is going to be a square. Okay, so question, question. I'll put the solution side by side. Okay, solution. Okay, so number one, we have a square. We have a square. This is a square. Okay, so we have 5 centimeter. Now, whenever they write, you say a question like this, or you see a shape like this is a square. Reason being that they only gave you one side. They are expecting you to know that all sides are equal. That's properties of a square. Okay, so that means this other side is 5 centimeter. Okay, so for the area of this shape, we have length times length. Okay, or sometimes they can represent it as n raised to power 2. So length times length means this times is the same number, right? 5 centimeter times 5 centimeter. That will give us what 25 what centimeter square. Some students ask, how do we get this square? The square is just simple. It's just like this is a value times another value will give you centimeter square. Just like if I have x times x, it will give me x square. So if I have centimeter times centimeter, it will give me what? It will give me centimeter what? Square. So that's just the value of how we get that square. Okay, so we have found the area of this shape. So let's find the perimeter. The perimeter of this shape will then be this plus this plus this plus this. But there's a formula for it which we usually call 4L. This formula simply means that 4 times 5, that's because this shape has 4 sides, okay? So we are going to multiply by the number of sides. So we have 4 times 5 centimeter, which will give us what? 20 centimeter. For perimeter, there is no square. It's only area you find square, but for perimeter there's no square because we are adding, we are not multiplying. Okay, here we multiplied, but there's no centimeter for 4, so that is why we do not have square. So now let's go to number 2. We have a rectangle. We have a rectangle. So we have, let's say, 5 centimeter and we have 2 centimeter. So the area of this shape, the formula is length times breadth, which is equals to what? Length means the longest side, okay? So we have 5 centimeter times the breadth is the smallest side, which is 2 centimeter. This will give us 10 centimeter what? Square. Okay, then we have for the perimeter, we have a formula 2 open bracket L plus B. Okay, now what does this formula mean? Remember that opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So this 5 will come 2 times, this 2 will come 2 times. So what they are showing you here is n plus b plus n plus b. So you just factorize this, okay? So factorize it by collecting what is common in two of them. The two of them come twice, right? So you pick one plus b. They come twice, okay? That's what they just did there. So we are going to solve this now. We are going to be having p is equals to what? 2 open bracket. 2 doesn't change. It's a constant, okay? Anything that follows, any number that follows the constant does not change. It's only the values that change. So we have 2 open brackets. The longest side is 5 centimeter plus 2 centimeter, which will give us what? This you first of all solve the bracket first. 5 plus 2 give us 7. So remember bracket 2 times this 2 is times in the value inside. So that will be 2 times what? 7 centimeter will give us what? Will give us 14 centimeter. So that is the area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay. So remember there is no square. Then number 3, we have a triangle. We just take all these shapes one at a time. Okay. For this triangle, we have 4 centimeter, we have 3 centimeter. Okay. And we have, let's say, we have a mark like this. Okay. With this, I can solve the area and perimeter. So we have area is equals to, now there's a formula for that, half times base times height. You see that this B, small letter is B, is for base, but this capital letter is for breadth. Okay, so one is base and the other one is breadth. Okay, so we have base and breadth. So now for this one, for us to solve the area, we have 1 over 2 times what? Base is whatever that is under is the base, okay, the base of an object. So base is 4 centimeter times what? 3 centimeter. So what this 1 over 2 is telling us is simply half. 1 over 2 is half. Half of 4 is what? 2. And if you have 3 here, you have 4 here, you can also extend this 2 as half of 4 here, okay? So you can do it like that since they are all multiplying. So half of 4 is 2. So that will be 2 centimeter times what? 3 centimeter. That will give us 6 centimeter square. Okay. So for the perimeter, for us to calculate the perimeter of this triangle. Now, if you look at this triangle, we will discover that we have these 3 marking here. What does that tell us? It tells us that this is an equilateral triangle where all the angles are equal, which is angle 60, 60, 60, and all the sides are equal, which is, since in this case we have 4 centimeters, so here is 4 centimeter, here is 4 centimeter. Like 2 the perimeter simply means this plus this plus this. Okay, so we have what? We have what? 4 times 3 times 4. 3 times what? 4. Since all the sides are equal, 3 times 4 centimeter, that will give us a 12 centimeter. Okay, so let's go to another shape. Number 4. We have another shape. Okay, let's take a circle. Okay, let's take a circle. Now, a circle is like this. Okay, a circle is like this. Now, there are 2 different cases. At times, you can have this. Okay, so let me just stress the difference between this. This is a radius and this is a diameter. Okay, in case you see any of these 2, this is from the circumference, that's the line outside, to the center of the cycle. Why this is, it comes from here to the center and goes to the other end. So this, if for instance here is 4, that means here is 4 and here is another 4 coming from here to that center. So this one will give us 8. So what does that tell us? It tells us that 4 radius is half of what? Diameter. So in case you are using the formula, you know how to get. So if you have a diameter and they ask you to find, the formula says pi r square, you have to know that since you are looking for r, you just divide diameter first by 2 to get your r. Okay, that's if you are using the diameter. But let's use the radius in this illustration. So I have 2 centimeter. Okay, that's my radius here. So area is equals to pi r square. This is the formula for finding the area of a circle. Now, what is this pi? Okay, what is this p? This pi. Okay, this pi is it has a value. Okay, the value is 22 over 7 or 3.14. This one is the value expressed in fraction, while this is the value expressed in decimal. But sometimes, most times, I do advise my students to use the 3.14, which is very easy to calculate, instead of dividing 7 with, looking for what you use and divide 7 to remove the denominator. So I have 3.14 times, what is arrow? Arrow is the radius, which is 2 centimeter. Remember, this is arrow square. Arrow square simply means arrow times arrow. So that will be 2 times 2. So we have 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter. So having this, we are going to do 2 times 2 give us 4. So that's 3.14 times 4 centimeter square. Remember, centimeter times centimeter will give us centimeter square. So let me quickly multiply that. 3.14 times 4. Okay, so we have 12.56. So we have our answer here, 12.56. Okay, centimeter square. Remember this area. So for, I told you, for circle, we don't find perimeter of a circle. Rather, we find the circumference, because this line that goes around the circle is called a circumference. Okay, a circumference. I will spell that out for circumference. Okay, so that's a circumference. So how do we find the circumference of a circle? There are two formulas. There's a formula for if you are using radius, and there's also a formula if you are using diameter. Now the formula for radius is 2 pi r. Why? The formula for diameter is pi d. Okay, I remember diameter is what? Half of what? Radius is half of what? Diameter. That's why this one is coming with 2. This value is still the same thing with this value, depending on the one you are using. So since we have arrow here, okay, if it's a diameter using, just do 3.14 times the diameter they give to you. But since we have area, which is 2 centimeter, we are using this one for our solution. So we have a circumference is equals to what? 2 times, remember this is a constant, 3.14 times what? Arrow is 2. Okay, 2 centimeter. So we'll multiply this and we'll get our answer. This times this will give us 4, right? So it's still like we are repeating the same work. So we are going to have what? 12.56 centimeter. There's no square in this one. So that's the difference. Okay. So we are done with this. So we are going to another shape. Moving to another shape. Okay. So the next shape we are going to treat is a trapezium. Trapezium. So what is a trapezium? Trapezium is a shape that looks like this. Although it has two ways it looks. It looks like this. You see some like this, and you see some like this. Okay, two of them are called trapeziums. Okay, they are both trapezium. So let's take one example. Let's use the one that looks like this. Okay, the one that looks like this. So a trapezium usually have height, just like a triangle has height. So a trapezium has height. So we have, let's say we have 3 centimeter, we have 4 centimeter, and as this space is longer than the up, okay, then we have the height as 2 centimeter. Okay, so we have to find the area of this shape. So area is equals to, what's the formula for this? We have a plus b over what? Over 2 times what? H. So this formula, I will explain the formula. Okay, so we have a plus b. A and b simply means, no, this is different from a square. So that's why we don't have length and breadth. And so what we have, this A is representing one of the sides. That's one of the sides, and B is representing one of the other sides. So we have A and B. Okay, then multiplied by the what? By the height. So if we are going to solve this, we are going to have we are going to have we're going to have A is equals to 3 centimeter plus what? 4 centimeter over 2 times what? 2 centimeter. So 3 plus 4 give us 7 over 2 times 2 centimeter. Remember this 2 here, okay? Remember this 2 is under, why this one is on top, so we can cancel out. So our answer is what? 7 centimeter. Or you can set 7 centimeter square, centimeter times centimeter, It gives us centimeter square. Now remember that you can also do it like this. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 divided by 2 will give us 7. Okay. So let's move to the perimeter. Now for the perimeter of this shape, the formula for that is simple, just to add the sides. Okay, let's just say I put a side here. I put like 2 centimeter, okay, because these two sides must be equal, okay, and I put like 2 centimeter here, okay, so 2 centimeter, and we have this. So what is the perimeter of this shape? Remember, perimeter is simply what? This plus this plus this plus this. So we are going to be having what? Formula for that to be a plus b plus c plus d. Remember, we don't have length and breadth. These abcds, they simply mean the sides, okay. So we now have what? P is equals to what? 3 centimeter plus 2 centimeter plus 4 centimeter plus 2 centimeter. That will give us what? 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So we have 11 centimeter, no square. Okay, so let's go to number 6. Number 6. So for number 6, we have a kite. Okay, we have a kite. Kite is one of the things children use to play with. Okay, that's a kite. Okay, adults too play with kite too. So I remember growing up, I do make some of this. So we have a kite, and this kite has it's also a plane shape. Okay, it has what we call a diagonal line. We have a kite has a that's the line I'm referring to as diagonal line means the line that cuts the kite into two like this. That is the diagonal line. Diagonal. This spelling diagonal. Okay, call it a diagonal line. So now, what is the formula? Before we go to the formula, let's put some values for this. So I'll give you like 2 centimeter. That's this line. Then this longer one, I'll give you like 4 centimeter. Okay. So we are going to find the area of this shape. Area is equals to the formula is d1 plus. Sorry, the formula for this one is 1 over 2 times d1 times d2. Okay, so for us to solve this, we have 1 over 2 means what? And like I said, it's a constant, it doesn't change, which is 0.5 if you want to change it to decimal. So we can have 0.5 times d1, let's say the small one, that's 2 centimeter, times d2, which is 4 centimeter. So remember, the half of 2 is what? 1. Okay, 1 centimeter times what? 4 centimeter. That will give us what? 4 centimeter square. So we have solved the area for that. Then let's do the perimeter for the kite. So the perimeter is 2 open bracket a plus b. Now remember, a and b, I told you these are not diagonal lines. These are not the numbers that are inside. Okay, this a and b simply means the length of, let's say here is 2 centimeter, and let's say here is 3 centimeter long. So this is the A and this is another side. These two lines are not the same. This one is the same with this one. This one is the same with this one. Remember, they put 2 here because we have 2 2 here and we have 2 3 here. So we are adding them. So we have 2 open brackets. What? A is 2 centimeter plus 3 centimeter. That will give us what? 2 open brackets 5 centimeter, which will give us what? 10 centimeter. So we have solved the what? The area of a kite and perimeter of a kite. So we'll look at rhombus. Okay, a rhombus. A rhombus. So what is a rhombus? A rhombus is simply a square, but has it comes like a with a parallel, two parallel lines. Okay, it's just like a square is like this, and it just bends like this. That's a rhombus. While a parallelogram is longer. Remember, it's like a rectangle. Okay, and it just go like this. That's a parallelogram. So a rhombus is a square that bends like this or like this, while a rectangle that bends like this is a parallelogram or like this. So we then have 7, which is we are looking for the rhombus. Okay, now the rhombus we are going to have is something like that looks like this. Okay, So we have two diameters again, two diameter line. I have 2 centimeter, I have 3 centimeter. Okay, so I have, let's say I have 5 centimeter up. So they ask us to find the area and perimeter. So the formula for this, for area, is equals to d1 plus d2 over 2. Okay, d1 times d2. Okay, d1 times d2. Let me write the times now. D1 times d2 over 2. So let's solve that. A is equals to what? What is d1? D1 could be the shortest side, which is what? 2 centimeter times 2 cent. D2 is 3 centimeter, the longest side. That's named as the diagonal line. Okay, divided by what? 2. So A is equals to 3 times 2 times 3 give us 6. So that's 6 centimeter square divided by 2, which A is equals to 3 centimeter. Then for the perimeter, we have, remember, this is a square that bends like this. So that means all the sides are equal according to the properties of a square. Okay, so that's simply 4n, right? So that will now give us what? That will then give us 4 times what? 5 centimeter, which will give us 20 centimeter. 20 centimeters. So that's our answer for that. So I found the area and perimeter of a rhombus. So let's go to a parallelogram. A parallelogram. Yes, this, all the shapes I'm giving us are all the shapes that will likely come out in your junior work. So I just had to compile everything together. So we have a parallelogram. So a parallelogram is longer than a square and it has two parallel lines. Okay, two parallel lines. Good. So we have B. Okay, let's say I have uh, 5 centimeter. I have 3 centimeter, and I have a height. Okay, a height of 2 centimeter. Okay, so they ask us to calculate what the area. Okay, so the area formula for area is C times H. Okay, or any value. Remember, C is simply one of the sides, okay, times the H. So we are going to use this. It's usually the base number that is the that we use to multiply the height. Okay, base times height. So we are using 3 to times that. So we have 3 centimeter times not 5. 3 centimeter times what? 2 centimeter. So we now have 6 centimeter square. Then for perimeter, perimeter is, I told you, is a rectangle that just bend. So we have this plus this plus this plus this. These two sides are equal. These two sides are equal. So we have 2, 3 and 2, 5. So the formula is still going to be what? 2 open bracket A plus B. Okay, so we have P is equals to 2 open bracket what? 3 centimeter plus 5 centimeter. So which will give us what? 2 open bracket what? 3 plus 5 will give us 8 centimeter. So that will give us what? 2 times 8 will give us 16 centimeter. So with this, we are done with what? The regular plane shapes you are going to find in your genome. So we are moving to polygons. Okay, polygons. Now, under the work of polygons, what we usually find is not area and perimeter. Okay, under polygons, we usually find angles, the value of interior angles, the value of exterior angles, and as well as the number of sides of that polygon. The number of sides of that polygon. Okay. Uh, I wanted to do something quickly before we move to polygons. Just wanted to add this extra for you. Okay. So there's what we call, all, like I said, all this we did just now are called, they are all regular shapes. Okay. Then we have some shapes that looks like this. Okay. These ones are called irregular shapes. Okay. So I'm going to do some examples for us. I have some minor examples. Yeah, it's good I remember this. Okay, so very quickly, so I have 3 centimeter, I have 2 centimeter, I have 4 centimeter, i have um I have 5 centimeter. Okay, no, let me make it to be 2 centimeter. Okay, so then I have 2 centimeter, I have uh 5 3 centimeter, I have two. No, that cannot be two. I have 3 centimeter, I have 4 centimeter. So we have two work here. Okay, these are under irregular shapes. So the first one, I'm going to do them like this. So we have to find the area and perimeter of these shapes. Okay, for this one we have to find the area and perimeter. This one we have to find the area of the shaded part or the non-shaded part. We find some questions like this. So the best thing to do for this shape is to what? To share the shape into two. Okay, to bisect it, okay, by splitting it or splitting it. So we can have here like this, we can break it down like this, or sometimes too, you can do it like this depending on how you want to share it. So we know that this space is 3, that means from here to here should be 3. Remember, opposite angles are equal. So how many remain here? The value will be 2. So we have 3 centimeter and 2 centimeter. You see, so this is what? This is how we split it. So we know that this one is a what? This is this I need to put a value for here. Sorry. Okay, 5.5 centimeter. So we know that this is a square because all sides are equal. Remember, this will still be 2. Why this one is a rectangle? Okay, so because we have 3 and 5, so we are going to split them out. So for this one, we are going to be having these two shapes. We are going to be having the first one, which is a rectangle, which here is 3 centimeter. That's this place. Okay, and this side, the longest side is 5 centimeter. Okay, I just um, put it down, like I just made it to lie down. Then the second one we have this. Remember, we're looking for the area and perimeter, 2 centimeter and 2 centimeter. Okay, so we have to find the area of this. Then we now add the two values because we remove them. So when we find the area of this and area of this, we now add them together. So we are going to be having area is equals to, remember, the formula for area of a rectangle is what? Is length times breadth, right? Length times what? Breadth. So we have what? 5 centimeter times 3 centimeter. That will give us 15 centimeter square. Then for this one, we have area is equals to 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter. That will give us 4 centimeter. So remember, we are supposed to add two of them. 15 centimeter plus 4 centimeter square. Sorry, square. We are going to have what? 19 centimeter square. So that's the area. Then if you have to find the perimeter, it's not hard. Remember, perimeter is the distance around the shape. But we are not going to use this place because perimeter is simply here, 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 and here. So we don't need this one inside. It's not outside, it's inside. So we don't need that one. So we are going to have, for perimeter of the shape together, we are going to have 3. So don't find the perimeter of the shape separately. You get confused, okay? So you are going to have 3, 5. So that's 3 plus 5. Okay, 3 centimeter plus 5 centimeter plus, remember here is 5 centimeter, 5 centimeter plus 2 centimeter. Okay, plus this one, 2 centimeter. Then this one, how do we calculate the value for this? Remember, from here to here is 2. That means from here to here should be 3 because all of this is 5. They must give you this 5. So here is 3 centimeter. So we have what? Plus 3 centimeter. So that's the numbers around it. So 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 5, that's 13. 8 plus 5, that's 13. 13 plus 2, that's 15. 15 plus 2, that's 17. 17 plus 3, that will give us what? 20 what centimeter. There's no square because it's perimeter. So we have solved this for area and perimeter of. So it can be any shape. Sometimes you can see some things like this. Okay, so just split it. Okay, that's just, it's not something that is very difficult. Okay, so let's tackle this other one. Now for this type, we what they usually ask us to do is find the area of the shaded part and the non-shaded part. We already know how to find the perimeter of these shapes. They are just two squares. We can separate them and find the one is a rectangle and one is a square. So you can just separate them and find the perimeter. For this case, it's acceptable for perimeter. So now, but let's just talk about the area. So that's just to find the area of the shaded part. Let's say this is a school compound. They can give you a question like that in word problem. This is a school compound and there's a podium where the teachers usually stand and students they line up around that podium or stage. So they have to find the what? The area of the shaded part. So for us to find that, we have to find the area of big, the field. They will now find the area of the small one. They will now subtract the small one from the big one. Will now get the area of what? The small one. Okay. So we have for the big one. Okay. So big area. Okay. I'll just put that big area. So we have what? Three 3 centimeter times 4 centimeter. Length times breadth, that's 4 centimeter times 3 centimeter. So that will give us 12 centimeter what? Square. So we have found that. Then for the um small what? Area, we have what? 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter. That will give us what? 4 centimeter. So for us to find, so the area of the shaded part, area of shaded parts, that's ASP, we have what? 12 centimeter square, remember this square, minus what? Oh, we don't even need to do this, okay? The area of this is simply, okay, if you are doing this, that means you are looking for the area of the non-shaded part. That means you are removing this out of all this. So you are looking for the area of the non-shaded part. But if you are finding the area of the small one, you don't need the bigger one. Just find this times this, which is 4 centimeter. That's all. So if you are finding the area of the non-shaded part, that means this space that is white. So you find the area of the big side, you now find the area of the small side. Now remove the small side out of the big side. So that thing will now look like this. So when I remove that small one out of the big one, it will now look like this. That place will be empty. So here is not part of the shape. Just see it like something that has an handle that you can put your hand inside like this and hold it. Okay? Good. So that's just like a keg. Like a keg. So we have a small hole here where you can put your hand. So there's nothing here again in the shape. Okay, so we are just finding the area of all the sides. So that's why we have been moving it minus. So we having what? 12. So area of non-shaded part. Okay, area of non-shaded part. We have what? 12 centimeter square minus 4 centimeter square. That will give us what? 12 minus 4. That will give us 8 what? Centimeter square. So that's the area of the white part, shaded part. So with this, we are done with plane shapes. So let's move to polygons. Okay, now polygons are shapes that have the sides are from 3 upwards. Okay, we have triangles are polygons, quadrilaterals such as square, rectangle, because they have chord means 4. They have 4 sides: rhombus, kite, parallelograms. All these are quadrilaterals. Then we also have pentagon, which is 5. We have hexagon, heptagon, octagon, nonagon. You get decagon and etc. So let's find the interior angles and exterior angles. This one usually also comes with formula. Okay, so we have let's say I have a question. Let me just draw a shape. Okay, draw a shape. There are many things we are going to do under this. So we are doing 3 things under this. So the first one is draw a regular pentagon. It's also applicable to any shape. This is a regular pentagon. Okay, so now they told us that we should find what? The sum of angle. Find the sum of angle. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Okay, now what do we mean by sum of angle? Sum of angle simply means that sum means plus. This plus this plus this plus this. Remember, these are all the angles. So when all these values come together, what is the answer? Remember, for a square, it is 180. That's 360. For a triangle, it is 180. This is the sum of angles of 4 sides. But this is a 5 shape. What is the sum of angles? That's what we are trying to find out. So there's a formula for that. The formula is simply what? Sum of angles. Okay, angles is equals to what? Open bracket n minus 2 times what? Times 180. So this is the formula that we use to find the what? It's not something that is very difficult. So now what does n stands for? Remember, not this end. This one means angles. I just represent it as angle. Okay, angle. So N stands for number of sides. Okay, how many sides does this shape have? One, two, three, four, five. That's a pentagon. It has five shapes. So we have 5 minus 2 times 180. This formula also works for all. Okay, 5 minus 2 give us 3. 3 times 180 degree. That will give us 270 degree. Okay, 3 times 180 degree. Let me just confirm that. 3 times 180 degree. That will give us, oh, that's 5, 540. Sorry. So that will give us 540 degree. Okay. So we have found the sum of what? That angle. Okay. That means when you plus this plus this plus this plus this. But if they ask you what is the sum of one of the angle, remember this is a regular polygon, means that all sides are equal and all angles are equal. That's for this case. Okay. So we just simply divide, since we know that this means this plus this plus this plus this plus this. Okay, that's 5 of them. So we just divide by number of, okay, number of angles, right, to get for one angle. So the formula for that, if you want to use a formula for that, okay, we have angle now, right? So one angle is equals to what? N minus 2 times 180 over 2, sorry, over n. Okay, that's number of sides. Yes, sometimes you can see this formula. You can see something that is 2 open bracket n minus 2 times 90. These two formulas are still the same thing. Okay, 2 times 90 is 180. So they are still the same thing. So don't confuse yourself. Okay, they are still the same thing. So let's use this formula. Remember, when we solved all this, we got this up. We got what? 540. Okay, divided by n. Divided by n means number of sides of this shape has what? 5 sides. So when we divide 540 um divided by what? 5. So we have 540 divided by 5. So we have 108. So each of the angles have 108, 108, 108, 108, 108. Okay, so we have been able to do two things at once now. So let us find what we call exterior angle. Exterior angle. So we have found sum of interior angle and one angle. So let's find exterior angle. What do you mean by exterior angle? Here's an illustration. Let's use the same rectangle. Okay, so exterior angles are like this. Okay, you have like this, you have like this, you have like this, you have like this. Okay, so exterior angles, these ones that are outside the shape. Okay, that are outside the shape. Those are exterior angle, like X this side, Y, Z, A, B, something like that. Okay, so those are exterior angle. Why these ones that are inside? Okay, let's say M, they are called interior angle. Why these are exterior angle? Now, if you look at this very well, you can see that this is like the 180-degree work you have done before. Okay, you see. And also, when you add the value of this exterior angle, when you plus it together for a regular polygon or any type of polygon, when you add it together, it will give us what? 360 degree. It will give us 360 degree. Okay, it's just like a car moving. Let's say a car moves here, it moves here, it moves here, it moves here, it moves here, and it come back to the same place. What has it done? It has gone round. So that is a 360 degree. Okay. So now let's solve this question. So if peradventure they give us the interior angle as 108, okay, 108. How can we find the exterior angle? That's, we already know that the interior angle is 108. How can we find the exterior? Remember, this angle on a straight line. So x, the exterior angle of this line, will now give us what? 180 degree. Remember, angle on a straight line minus 108. So this will now give us a 72 degree. So are we going to say that 72 plus 72 plus 72 plus 72 plus 72 will give us 360? Let's find out. So remember, it's five, it's a pentagon, so that will be what? Y is equal to 72 degree times what? 5. If it will give us what? Not this Y. Okay, that's we are trying to find out uh if the sum of the exterior angles will give us what? 360 degrees. So we have 72 times what? 5. 72 times 5 is 360. So you can see that it still follows the law. Okay, and that's applicable to all shapes. So we have done the three things we're supposed to do on polygons. So we are moving to volume of solid shape. Okay, so that will be the last thing before the inverse, how to inverse formulas. Okay, so yes, let's do it for solid shape. We have some common shapes that you are going to come across in your uh, exams. Okay, so for the shapes we are going to do, let's start with a cube. Number one, a cube. These are cubes look like. It's like a dice. Okay, a cube is like a dice. A square dice. Okay, a square dice. So we have, let's say we have 5 centimeter. Remember, it's a square. All sides are equal. So the formula for finding the volume of a cube. So volume of solid shape. Okay. So formula for finding the volume for your stage, you only find the volume. In SS, senior secondary school, they usually find the total surface area. Okay, but we are not doing that, so we are only doing the volume. So there's a formula for this which is n raised to power 3. So why is it now raised to power 3? Remember the other one was n raised to power 2 because it's length times breadth, length times breadth. Okay, length times breadth. But that was a flat shape, but now it is a solid shape. It has length, breadth, and what? Height. A box have height. So you see now that's why it's now increased to what? To 3. So we have volume is equals to what? 5 centimeter times 5 centimeter times 5 centimeter. So we have to multiply that. 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, that will give us what? 125. So we have 125 for centimeter cube. Remember, for solid shape, which is no longer square, it is now cube. That's raised to power 3. So let's go to the next shape. We have a cuboid. Remember, a cuboid is like a rectangle but longer than a rectangle. So we have, let's say 5 centimeter. We have 2 centimeter as the height. Then we have this. Let me put this one so it won't confuse us. So we have 2 centimeter here. That's the height. Okay. Then we have here as 3 centimeter. So let's find the volume. The volume of this shape is not difficult. There's a formula for it. We have the formula is L times B times what? H. Okay. So length times breadth, that's for the down, then times the height. So which is 5 centimeter, which is the longest side, 3 centimeter times what? 2 centimeter height. Okay. So this will now give us 5 times 3 is what? 15. 15 times 2, that's 30. 30 centimeter what? Cube. So we have done for cube and cuboid. So let's go to the next shape. We have what we call a sphere. Okay, that's number 3, a sphere, a spherical shape. Okay, this is like a football. It's not long, it's not a circle. Okay, it's like a football. So um we have 2 centimeter here. So we have to find the volume of this shape. There's a formula for this. The formula is 4 over 3 pi r cube. Okay, this is the formula 4 over 3 pi r cube. So for us to calculate this, 4 over 3 we have to change to decimal. So it's better to change it to decimal. 4 over 3 is simply 1 point. 3 in 4. 3 in 4. How many 3 can I find 4 is 1 point. Add remainder 1 here, right? Answer. So that's 1.33 times what? 3. You can press that on your calculator. 4 over 3, you get 1.33. So we have, remember, 3.14 as pi. Then times what? Arrow here is what? Radius. That's from here to the center of circle is 2 centimeters. So that's 2 centimeter what? Cube. Okay. So that means 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter. 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter. Remember, cube means 3 times 1, 2, 3. So let's multiply all this. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. Okay. So we have 8. So 8 will now multiply 3.14 times what? Times 1.33. 1.33 times 3.14 times 8. So we have 33.4, 33 point, we have 33.4096. So sometimes they may ask you to approximate to nearest wherever. So if you want to approximate to nearest whole number, you cut it here. Since this number is not up to 5, it's only from 5 to 9, you carry 1. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For any number that is like 4, 0 to 4, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You won't carry, so answer will be 33 centimeter was cube. Okay, so in case they ask you to approximate the value. So we are done with a sphere. So let's go to a cylinder. What's a cylinder? A cylinder is a shape. After cylinder, we have two more shapes. So number 4, we have a cylinder. This is a cylinder, just like the cup you use in your house, cup or plates. So we have, let's say we have here as 2 centimeter. The reason why I'm using smaller numbers is so that the calculation will be very easy for us to understand. Okay, 2 centimeter. That's the radius here. And we have 3 centimeters the height here. We're asked to find the ceiling, the volume. Now for cylinder, there's what we call an open cylinder and a closed cylinder. An open cylinder, that means there's no cover on it. It has only one circle. That's the circle under, but there's no circle on top. But a closed cylinder has two circles, one that is covering it and one that is covering it under, just like a tin. You bought a tomato tin, okay? So if there's a cover on it, it's a closed cylinder. But if you remove the cover, it only has one covering under that is holding the content inside. So that means there's two formulas for it. So if it is a open um an open cylinder, the formula will be for open cylinder, okay, OC is equals to pi r square h. But if it's a closed cylinder, that's it has two circles. So we are writing 2 times 2 pi r square h. So this 2 is simply telling us that the circle that is there, there's two circles. Why this one means there's only one circle. So for my own case, I'm going to assume that we have, because this is a close. For me now, this is a close because I put the value on top. So that means I'm telling you that there's a cover on top, and obviously there's something under, right? So that is holding the content. So we are going to use the second formula for this example. So we have uh, for the volume of this, the volume is equals to what? 2 pi r square h. So we'll be having, remember 2 is a constant, so we have 2 times 3.14 times r is what? 2 centimeter. So 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter, remember it's square. So times what? 3 centimeter. So this is what we have. So 2 times 2 means r square and 3 height. So we'll be having, so let's add the normal numbers together. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 3, 8 times 3, that's 24. So 24 times 3.14. That's 24 times 3.14. We have 75.36. So we don't, for this work, you see, we don't usually use a scientific calculator. Okay, it's just something you use a normal calculator. But I advise you to get a scientific calculator. Yes, solid shapes are cube. That's raised to power 3. Okay, so I advise to get scientific calculator. Reason being that you also have other works that you use a scientific calculator for. Like in trigonometry, you have to use sine constant. Your normal market calculator doesn't have those values. Okay, so let's move to another one. We have a cone. Number 5, we have a cone. So what's a cone? A cone is something that looks like this, like Christmas cap or bully cap in the US. Or you have those Fs, they are caps. Those of you that watch this, or maybe ice cream. When that ice cream cone, you turn it upside down. So this is a cone. So we have the volume. For the volume of a cone usually have a height and has a circle under. Okay, so we have a height. Remember, height is the dotted, any dot line you usually find like this. It's mostly an height in any shape. So we have here as 3 centimeter, we have here as 2 centimeter. Okay, so let's find the volume of this cone. So our formula is 1 over 3 times pi r square, or 1 over 3 pi r square h. Okay, so this is our formula for the cone. So we are going to have v is equals to 1 over 3 times what? 3.14 times what? Arrow square means what? That's your radius here. Your radius is 2 centimeter for the circle under. So that's 2 centimeter times 2 centimeter times what? Times 3 centimeter. So we then have what? 1 over 3 is 0.33. Okay, 3 in 1. If you press your calculator, you also get that. 3 in 1 is 0. Put point, add 0 to 1. 3 is 9, so that's 0.33. So we have volume is equals to 0.33 times 3.14 times this times this. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So 12 centimeter cube. Okay, that's centimeter, centimeter, centimeter. That's the only one. That's raised to power 3. So we are going to multiply this value 0.33 times 3.14 times 12. Okay, so we have 12.4 volume is equals to 12.4344. So you can approximate that value if you want to. So let's go to the last one for solid shape. So number 6, we have a pyramid. Okay, a pyramid just like the one in Egypt, or like a roof of a house. Okay, a roof of a house. So this is a pyramid. So if what can we observe from a pyramid? We can observe that we have uh, a plane shape under at the base, at the base. Let's say this is a rectangle. Okay, so we have square base, we have rectangle base pyramid. So this one is, this side is longer than this side, so it's a rectangular base what pyramid. So we have, let's say here is 5 centimeter, no, small, it's a small place. Let's say here is 2 centimeter, let's say here is 3 centimeter. That's this. Let me bring it outside so we'll not confuse ourselves. So let's say here is 3 centimeter, that's the length of this side. So the height, because this thing is tall, so it must have a height. So let's say that height is um, 3 centimeter. So how can we find the what the volume of this shape? Now the volume of this shape is not difficult. We have the formula 1 over 3, 1 over 3 times area of base times height. Okay, so what do they mean by area of base? This is the first time you have seen something. Why? Because we have a solid, so we have a plane shape which is a rectangle. We have to find the area of that rectangle, then we multiply it by the height. So what's the area of this rectangle? Area of the rectangle is 3 centimeter times 2 centimeter. That will now give us 6 centimeter square. So that's the area of the rectangle. So we have 1 over 3 times area of the base now, which is area of the rectangle under, which is what? 6 centimeter what? Square times what? The height, how tall the thing is, 3 centimeter. So we have this, remember this is 0.33, 0.33 times what? 6 centimeter. Okay, let's just multiply this. 6 times 3 is 18. So we have, remember this is centimeter square, this is 2 plus 1, that's times 1, that's 3. So we have what? That's 18 what? Centimeter cube. Okay, you see it's also a cube. So let's multiply that. 0.33 times what? 18. So we have 5.4, 5.94. So we have 5.94 centimeter cube. So with this, we have been able to solve uh, volume of solid shape, volume of solid shapes. So these are, you likely see any of these 6 in your exam. So I'm going to take one more thing. Okay, I will just want to show you how to reverse something. maybe I'll use this. Okay, I'll use that question. Question number 5. So now the question is like this. Okay, so the question is like this. If the volume, this is a question. If the volume of a cone is 208 centimeter cube, find the height if the what radius is 3 centimeter. So this is a question. So remember, normally we're supposed to be finding volume of the shape, but now they reverse it. They are now asking us to find the height, and they give us the volume. So we still going to use that formula. We have to write the formula in full. Okay, we have to write the formula in full. So how do we solve the solution? We have V is equals to, I'm writing the formula there, times what? R square H. So this is the formula. So let's start putting the values that we have from the question. So the first value we have, they gave us the what? The volume of the shape of the cone, which is 20. So when the volume is, that's what we put 208, okay, centimeter what cube is equals to 1 over 3. This is always a constant. Remember, they give us the radius. The radius as what? 3 centimeter. So we have 3 centimeter, which is, remember, r square means 3 times 3, okay, centimeter. Okay, then we now have what? Height, which we don't know, right? So another best way of doing is to use what we call change of subject formula by making the h the subject of the formula. If you do that, it will now look like this. All these values will go to this side. So since they are times here, when they jump to that side, they will turn to divide. So you'll be having something that looks like this. V H is equals to V over, remember all these ones are becoming divide, 1 over 3, or now in this case, since 1 over 3, up is times, down is divide. So here will then be 3, because the 1 will come at times this one here up. 1 over 3 times what? R square. So this is what you are going to be having. So you can use it like this. You just put the values there. You get your answer. But let's just follow the normal formula. So following the normal formula, we are going to be having this times this is 9. 9 times 3.1 point. I'm just trying to solve all this before I move it to the other side. So we have 0.33 times 9. So we have 2.97. We have 2.97. Okay, 2.97. So this will give us 208. I'm just removing the value for now. 208 times what? 2.97. 2.97 times h. So what do you do here? You carry this to the other side, which is times jumping to the side becomes divide. So we'll now have, if I face it this way, we have 208 over what? Since times jump to the side becomes divide. So now so if we divide this, we get our value for the height. So 208 divided by 2.97. So we have 70 point something, 70.0337. But you can approximate here. So you can have 70.0337. Okay, centimeter. Remember, height is not cube. It's volume that carry cube, but height is just 1 centimeter. That's the length of one shape. So I believe with this we are done for today. We have touched area of plane shapes. We are look at regular shapes, area and perimeter of regular shapes, and irregular shapes. We also look at interior exterior angle of a polygon, and we also look at volume of solid shapes, and we also look at how to solve some inverse questions. Okay, so I believe with this we have learnt a lot today, and like always, please ensure you subscribe share the video to help to reach out to other people and help other people who have math issue. And that's the reason why I teach this, because I want students to learn. Okay, so please try and share the videos. Any child that you know that has difficulty, I'll be doing these videos consequently so that I can cover a lot of topic in maths, so that at the end of the day, when students are using my maths, you know, after they teach them in school and they come back home and they use the maths to practice the questions, it will help them to really understand the subject very well. So thank you for being with me through this class. Please don't forget, your comments are also very important to me. So please drop your comments in the comment section. I'll also be going through it. Thank you so much for today. Do have a lovely day. Bye.